Even the S&Ps end Friday on a high note. We didn't quite get as high as we were on Monday. That's because we set a new all-time high up at 44.76, spending the next several days trading lower, bottoming out at the 50-day moving average on Thursday, and then rallying about 2% to close the week from Thursday's low. So at this point, we're not quite at the all-time high, but we're certainly away from that key moving average, that 50-day moving average that the E-mini S&P has hit about a half dozen times since March and has yet to see a sustained trade below it. We've dipped for a day and then boom, pop right back above it. At this point, stocks a little bit weary this week of the variant and what it might possibly do to economic growth. What will the Fed or what won't the Fed say or do? Not only at the Jackson Hole Symposium coming up next week, but also at further FOMC meetings. Likewise, we'll continue to watch the economic data. It's been very mixed, strong jobs, high inflation, and a little bit of a mix in between. So right now, stocks really more concerned about the short term here with where the variant's taking the economy and what the Fed may or may not do to change its or shift its monetary policy. But again, seeing a big move higher on Friday to enter into the weekend. Now, what does this do for volatility? Well, typically volatility moves obviously inversely to the index. So we see E-minis rally, we see volatility go down. That's exactly what we saw on Friday. But going back to the earlier part of the week, we saw volatility spike higher. In the VIX index, we saw it get north of 20, close to 25. We didn't quite get there. But it's spent Monday through Thursday pushing higher in 4 consecutive days. All to give it back on Friday, though, so not quite all the way back, but we gave back most of those gains in the VIX index, settling back below 20. The only reason I mention that is because we haven't seen Friday settle above 20 in the VIX since going back to the middle of June. So at this point, volatility remains very, very directional as E-minis pushed higher, volatility traded lower. Lastly, what do we have next week? We got a lot of things. We've got a lot of data coming out, including durable goods. We've got some housing numbers. We also will continue with some earnings numbers, which haven't really moved the index of all that much. But the big show next week is going to be that Jackson Hole Symposium I mentioned, and Fed Chairman Powell will be speaking Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That will be the highlight of the week. Not necessarily that the Fed is going to do anything. He's not going to indicate, likely not going to indicate what the Fed is going to do, but may reveal some of the what the Fed may want to do down the road. And clearly tapering of asset purchases is going to be tops on most lists. No one's expecting the Fed to raise rates, but tapering would be an indication that the Fed is going to start removing some of their accommodation. And at this point, all eyes will be watching Friday at Jackson Hole. So a lot going on next week, a lot happening this week, but we will end on a positive note in equities as we push higher off Thursday's lows, looking ahead to next week's Jackson Hole Symposium and what Fed Chairman Powell may or may not say.